Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers have practically built themselves.
Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv and welcome to today's show. Today we are going to build that tank that I reviewed a few weeks ago. This one right here. So the sprues say that it's model collect. I can't remember what the company name was that I bought it under, and it really doesn't matter because it's going to change in a day or two anyway. It's the way all of these Chinese companies seem to be anymore, is it'll come out under one thing and then it'll come out under another the next week, so you think you're getting something really cool and new and you're not. Anyway, I digress. You can tell there's a lot of sarcasm in that, simply because I'm really sick of dealing with those companies. I'll be honest with you. They do turn out some interesting subjects. This is interesting, but it's not a good builder, and we'll get into that here in just a few minutes. So stick with Mad Dog Merv as we look at the build of the Kou-Ga fictional World War II Japanese tank.
Here we go. I'm going to take the stock Commander's cupola that comes with it. I decided it was molded in. I cut it off, and I'm going to go with a different one that is in the kit, this one here. And I want to be able to move it, so I'm putting it over some stock styrene. I'm going to put a circle around it and cut this out and make this ring, if you will. So I can just put it down in and it'll turn just fine. Turned out great. Works very well. There's a lot of injector pin marks all over this kit. And here's one. What a great place for it, huh? I also decided to put some more weld seams on it in some different areas. I used just some very thin strip styrene I cut. Went over it with the extra thin cement. I've used this technique before. You may have seen it. As far as colors, I didn't have a good Japanese tank color in my acrylics, and instead of waiting to get one, I just mixed up this Euro dark gray and this other green I had that was similar. Sorry, I couldn't read what it was. Mixed them together, and this is the color I got. Turned out pretty good. Added a little bit of black to it to make it a little darker, and went over the corners and edges to give it that kind of a shadowed effect. This is backwards from what a lot of guys do with their pre-shading. I call it post-shading. All right, so here is the deck, and you can see, look at the instructions, there's really not much to it. Putting this thing together was really quick and easy. The wheels, the road wheels, they went on okay, but the idler in the front was horrible. It does not sit there right, no matter what you do, and it also doesn't go in all the way. It's just an absolute nightmare. I had to break it, re-glue it. So as far as the tracks go, they were link and length. And normally I wouldn't complain too much, but on this kit they were awful. So to go ahead and paint those up, I went ahead, like I usually do, hit it with the 2X primer, the red oxide primer. That's what I use as a base for my tracks. And then I went over it with this AK Dark Tracks, which I really like. This is a color that I really have come to like with my tracks. Went ahead and sprayed that on, put the tracks together. What a nightmare that was. And then went over it with this enamel wash, which darkened it even more. I like how it looked with that. Then I went ahead towards the very end and took some just flat steel from Testors and dry brush that onto the tracks to give it that, where the cleats are type of thing. Okay, and you can kind of see some of these techniques pop up here as we go. So when I tried to put the lower hull to the upper hull. You look at this. Terrible fit. Terrible fit. I wound up using some ultra thin super glue to go down the seam. I had to kick it once I got it right into position, and then I had to fill these seams, which most of them I did with just some sprue goo. Once I had it the way I wanted it, I wanted to add some color to just the green. I didn't want just green on there, so I chose NATO brown. Looked like a good match, pretty close to some of the Japanese colors. And for my clear coat, I decided to use, Pledge with Future. It's Future, folks. Whatever they want to call it, it's Future. So here's the result. Turned out pretty good. Went ahead and chose my decals, got those put on, painted up the Pioneer tools, the wood block, and the tow cables. There's not a lot to it, which was great for me. And you see how this turned out. I went ahead and put some of that wash on it in the cracks and crevices, and then I hit everything with my Tamiya clear to get it nice and flat. Okay, so I'm going to open up the hatch on this on one side because it had so many injector pin marks. I went ahead and made a cushion, and on both sides I needed to put a grab handle.
So I'm going to attempt to show you folks how I do my light weathering. I'm going to add kind of a grimy streaks. So we're using the wash brown, the whatever the heck it is, 502. Yeah. And I've got some here on the palette. And we're going to use just a little bit of this. Some little drops here and there. And I want to put it like on the edge of plates at the bottom where things would run down, so it'd be blocked by, say, this, but around the edge might have some. Okay, you take a flat brush, dip it in a little odorless thinner, dry it off on the whatever that is. Kleenex, toilet paper, paper towel, whatever it is you've got. And then I'm just going to drag this stuff down. Now, if I don't like, if I think it's too much, I just add some more of the odorless thinner. And I can make the strokes as long or short as I want. And there you go. There's the technique there. And you can see I've already done the front, and it's very, very subtle, but you can see right here and here and around the base of the gun ball, and I even did some here. So again, it's a subtle technique, but it's one that I like to use.
And here you can see some of the effects on the turret. If I don't like it, I just use a little bit more thinner and can drag the streaks a little bit longer, which is what I wound up doing here.
So now I'm going to try something new. Yay for me! So I painted the Pioneer tools with a enamel, and I'm trying to find the one that I used here. I think it was this old Floquil buff color. Okay. But what I'm going to use now is this Wash for Wood by AK. We're going to try this out and see how it works. wash over my wood here. Sorry, I'm hoarding the view. Wash the block, the wood block. Okay, so, and it dries pretty quick. You can see the effect that it's given us, and I like it. I do. So I think that's going to be a keeper for me. All right, now I'm going to start with my pastels here on the exhaust. Now, it's probably fine the way that it is, but I'm going to add something. So I painted it with the Dark Tracks color, and I went over it with the Vallejo light rust, which basically did nothing. Now I'm going to use, this is a Mars Brown, my favorite rust color, and a flat brush. And I'm just going to apply it here. And just brush it on. Looks like I got a loose exhaust piece here. Okay, now for the pastel powders that I like to use. I'm going to do a mixture of raw umber, burnt ochre, brown ochre, whatever, and yellow oxide. I'm going to mix those up here with my flat brush until I kind of get the color of earth that I'm after. And this is supposed to be representing the main island of Honshu. So, having had some friends who've been there, shown me some pictures and whatnot, I'm trying to come up with a good color for the dirt. Looking for the area around the Kanto Plain. So, you can see I've already applied some here and here. What I like to do is try to think where they're going to be walking and moving, and apply some a little heavier on some of the areas than others. And some areas I'm just not even going to put it, because this is supposed to represent kind of a dust. Not real heavy, but it is going to give me some tonal variations, as you can see in it. If I don't like it, I can just wipe it off, or I've got a little water and dish soap mixed up there. If I want to just delete it, I can. So I'm going to go around and put this on, and we'll come back in just a moment. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at the finished product. So
First, I want to show you the wheels, how the dust turned out, those pigments on the wheels. And the use of the pigments on the track, the spare track, up here on the top, and the streaks. You can see there's a little bit of chipping, very little bit. Okay, and you can see how the pigments gave us kind of that subtle dust effect up top here. You can see the wheels, how they turned out. Let's look at the top. There's a little bit of chipping on the handrails and the area leading up to the hatch. You can see down in there the gun breech. See the gun moving there, so yeah, it's there. Working around this way. You can see the wash, how it turned out on the wood and on the block. We put an antenna on this, made out of the same material as the hatch grab handle.
So I do want to reiterate, these tracks are absolute garbage in my opinion. You can see the Lincoln length everywhere that I have a break in them. They just didn't turn out real well. I'm not pleased with how the results. And also on this left side, they are a little cockeyed in the front. Some of the pictures you can tell better than others, but it's because of that idler wheel and how it wound up going on. So I'm happy with how it turned out, but I am not happy with the build. It was fun, but the quality was horrible. Thanks, folks. We'll see you again soon.